Hey, what's up, everybody? You know who they are. That's Louie and Hunter, being good boys, actually. We just took photos down here. We're at Dexon Docks, my local hometown here in Pinellas County. We're going to talk to Billy back here in a second. He's their expert with some hurricane chit-chat. But we are going to be doing a giveaway here. Halloween day, we're going to be doing this raffle. It's not a raffle, actually. You're just going to like and comment. So we're pretty excited about it. You can win this sucker, and we're going to have a cool little submit your photo of what you like to keep in your cooler, and it'll be probably like a week or two. So, but anyway, Dexon Docks has been a big supporter of ours here on the page. A lot of y'all are boaters. A lot of people live on the coast. They do a lot locally with softball. I always talk about them. They sponsor the local softball fields here, but we're going to talk about some really interesting stuff here. There's three things we're going to go over that I saw firsthand with Hurricane Ian, and we're going to talk to an expert, Billy, who actually lives on Pine Island. All right, so this is Billy. So the first thing we're talking about are vinyl seawalls, okay? And a lot of the areas down there obviously were affected with seawall failure. But there's also a story I want him to tell you about Irma, when all the water came out of Tampa Bay and what was found because of that water leaving the bay.
So a lot of times what's happening is a lot of older homes aren't built with newer age seawalls or up-to-date seawall compliances. And during Irma, years ago, when the storm came through, we didn't even get a direct hit there. But the storm had pulled all the water out of all of our canals. And in Cape Coral, we have the largest canal system in all of Florida. There's miles and miles of seawall there. Well, the storm never even hit us, took all the water out, and it stayed out for hours on end. Well, when all the back pressure left from the water, it ended up knocking down miles of seawall. And one of the problems that comes with the miles of seawall is your homeowner's insurance doesn't cover. So you want to make sure that you have properly installed seawall with licensed contractors, and a lot of times we want to recommend vinyl seawall. And the reason with vinyl seawall is because your vinyl seawall still comes with a warranty. So you really don't have to go and pull out a separate insurance policy when you're using vinyl, as long as it's installed properly. It's another thing that when this past hurricane came through out on Pine Island, I'm sure a lot of you saw, Matt Lachey was torn to pieces. A lot of the main run going out to Matt Lachey, about 90% of it is gone. And it's because the ground eroded from underneath of it, and all the buildings fell in, the houses fell in, restaurants. There's about 3 different walls that are on that long stretch where it's all missing from the water and the wind damage, and every one of them has one of these sitting behind it. It was the only thing that didn't erode in all that historic district in there.
Crazy. Yeah, so as you know, I drove to Pine Island. We saw that damage. It was bad along the entrance to the island. So interesting note. The other thing we're talking about is boat, what do you call it?
Really kind of safety tips if, to keeping boats on lifts.
Right, boats on lifts. So I'm gonna let them chit chat. But one thing I noticed when we were down in St. James, all the little canals down there, almost every boat was off their lifts, and there's stuff you can do if you're a boat owner that he's going to talk about that I find pretty interesting, because the boats were everywhere down there.
Yeah, a lot of it's preventative maintenance, but I can't tell you that obviously depending on the storm like this one that it's going to completely protect it, but there's a lot of things you can do to prevent it. And most of the time, if you can't get your boat off of a lift and onto a trailer and into someplace safe or into a safe structure, it's best to tie the boat to the lift and raise the lift as high as you can. And the only reason you want to do that is, I know that the wind is going to affect it, but you want to keep the boat on the lift. And if the water comes up high enough to even pick it up and the lift up, it will still pull the cables upwards, and you'll get some room to go upward. To make sure that really the lift isn't swinging around and breaking your pilings, a lot of times you want to put cleats on your deck, and then from your deck into your framing so that it's holding some structure, or on the pilings, and you want to strap your lift to the outsides on 4 corners to hold it from swinging around and breaking the pilings. And again, I can't tell you it's going to save everything, but I can tell you that most people down there that tied their lifts and tied the boats to it kept their boats and they didn't end up in the street or people's backyards, or in some cases in people's homes.
Yeah, we saw that. Yeah, we saw boats everywhere. I'm going to give you a little tour here of the place when we leave, but it's a little bit about decks and docks. They're everywhere, and anywhere there's water, there's going to be a location. So all of our boater friends out there, you know, big chunk of our audience, the Carolinas, the Upper Gulf, of course, Florida. You know, give them a shout. You know, if you need anything, they do a lot for us, and they're big. And more than anything, they're big fans of our page. They have been for a lot of years. Like I said before, we only work with companies that are fans of our page, so it kind of works both ways. But the last thing we're going to talk about is proper attachment of docks. I don't know if you remember my live with Dylan Hubbard down at Hubbard's Marina during Ada, but we were out on the dock and a surge wave came in, and all the wood started popping off the dock, and we're running like little kids. And you see that a lot. So there's something to talk about with docks and you know, preparing your dock for storms like we just saw, and little storms like Ada.
Yeah, so a lot of times what happens is people have like older wood on their docks and it's starting to rot out some of the times. And really, first off, you want to make sure that you have good wood down on your docks or your composites that aren't going to rot out. And kind of the reason that you want to go with that is as it gets older and it gets softer, the wood can pull up off the screws. Now, say your wood is new and everything is new on it, you want to make sure when you're fastening it that you're fastening it with stainless steel screws. A lot of the docks that we went and walked around after all the hurricane went through, the problem was they were using coated screws or just regular steel screws. They rotted out and they were all rusted underneath and the homeowner couldn't see it. Well, when the waves came through, it just broke all the screws, and you can see the top of the screw is still sitting in the dock, but there's no deck boards.
Crazy, crazy. Well, let's walk through. Show me some of your trucks and stuff. We'll go outside here and
yeah.
So how awesome this stuff is. I mean, this is my life, man. One day I'm going to live on the water, and that's my bucket list. But you have these yards all across the state, right?
We've got yards all over the state of Florida. We are from Long Island, New York, all the way down to the Keys, and we go all the way over in Alabama. We're over by Orange Beach, Alabama. But basically, we sell stuff to make like an outdoor living dream is what we're trying to fix. We do everything from composite decking to lumber. We do commercial projects with lumber as well, but a lot of railings, a lot of accessories, your dock boxes, bumpers, ladders, anything really, even for an outdoor porch, or like people build outdoor dining rooms with grills, and we sell all the material to put the decking down and create that experience outside.
Where's those? Let's go take a look at those vinyl. So, we're gonna go. I want to see these seawalls here. Check out this truck, man. You guys got the best looking trucks. That is so badass, man. And how many of you guys remember this? Let's talk about this story. I gotta tell you the story real quick. So do y'all remember this? Shelly, are you watching? Do you remember Howard the duck? So we were in Biloxi, Mississippi. Listen to this one. So I was storm chasing during Zeta by myself, and we finally made it back to the Biloxi Golden Nugget. I was so excited. It was like the most scariest being alone out there. So we pull up to the Golden Nugget, and there was a pelican swimming, and I'm like, look, there's a duck. And I kept calling it a duck. I kept filming it. I kept filming the duck, and I'm like, oh, the duck. And I didn't even know about it until like the day after. Everybody's like, that's a pelican. So Shelly sent me, we got a stuffed animal that she named Howard the duck. It's pelican, so it's kind of fitting. Me and my shenanigans. We come up with some weird words, but yeah, this is something else, man. Wood. Just nuts. But these seawalls are pretty fascinating to me because I saw the Irma, what he was talking about, you know, all these seawalls that were damaged across Tampa Bay, and people had to go into panic mode redoing their seawalls.
We sell a lot of different types of seawall, and each one for each job, each homeowner. I mean, we have some that hold up dirt driveways on the side. We use it for really a lot of different applications, but especially on the water and for your docks and using the vinyl wall. Not only does it just look better in a general statement and aesthetically pleasing, but I mean the strength of it and the fact that you get the warranty with it, you don't have to pull insurance just for your seawall. Yeah. It's a huge thing.
That's cool, man. Well, awesome. We appreciate it. And
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, let's turn it around a little bit. But so the shocking thing was Billy lives on Pine Island, so we shared a lot of stories. He wrote it out, right?
Yes.
And was it your mom 7 miles in, or who was it?
So we have, I mean, people were affected all the way to 7 miles inshore. I mean, if you
Yeah.
go all the way down into North Fort Myers, which is further up, the water came all the way in up there. My mother lives 3 miles in by the hospital and had water coming all the way up into the house.
Yeah.
So it was, I tell you, all the times that everybody told us not to worry about the surge, you know, we all these years rode them out there, and this one will get you second guessing about the surge.
Well, there was a lock too. What was the story on the lock? Something very interesting. So we have the same thing here in Tarpon Springs. If you live here by me in Pinellas County, we have a separation between the upper Tampa Bay and Lake Tarpon. It sounds like that's what they have down at Fort Myers.
Yeah, so if you go up the Caloosahatchee River, which is the main waterway that runs through over towards the Lauderdale area, if you can go all the way through the state. Well, there's a locks that keeps the fresh water away from the salt water, and it goes up towards Lake Okeechobee area, and the water raised up high enough to go over top of the locks and go back in where they control the water so it doesn't get too high. They couldn't control it because the salt water came in over into the fresh and made its way all the way up into the homes that were there.
Crazy. So, yeah, so we're 1 month from Ian, and the stories are still piling in, man. It's pretty rough. So we hope everybody's doing good. But I've been advertising we're going to come down here. We're going to be doing a raffle. Not a raffle. It's a giveaway, not a raffle. All you're going to have to do is like and comment. They're going to mail you a nice Yeti cooler with some goodies in it. So I'm going to post that with the puppies. We got a cute picture of the puppies inside the cooler. Kind of fitting. Like, what do you like in your Yeti? But the dogs aren't included. So. Disclaimer. All right. Well, hey, thanks everybody. You know, I do this from time to time with the bigger companies that we've been friends with for a lot of years. So, was excited about this. Thanks for watching. And if you're a boater, keep Dex and Docs in mind for anything you might need in the future. And we'll see you for the Daily Brew tomorrow morning. All right. See you.